That's why they're forced to use dog medicine. You don't seem to get that. Completely, without a doubt certain that if you don't agree with them, you're an evil half-wit. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us on KZTV. I'm your host KZ, and today we're doing a rebuttal on the Young Turks and the left's newest and apparently most favorite sweetheart, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Without further ado, let's get into it. They start off by watching some right-leaning shows and, well, try to do what I'm doing right now, show where they disagree. Let's call that poetic justice. And to those of you who are blissfully agreeing with the Young Turks, like I used to when I was, well, younger, trigger warning. This is what they end on. The Republicans could agree, but they don't see it working, yada yada, let's go.
Alexandria, what's wrong with that framing?
Well, I think what is wrong is that we end up falling into a trap. We end up falling into the right's trap of framing, which is that whenever they want something, we never ask how much it's going to cost. Whenever they want to authorize unlimited war, whenever they want to cut our tax revenue down by $2 trillion, we never ask, how are you going to pay for some of the largest expenditures that we've had in the last 20 years. It's only when we talk about education, healthcare, and housing do we talk about empty pockets. The truth of the matter is the way that we pay for these programs is the same exact way that we pay for endless war, trillion-dollar tax cuts, except the only difference is that this is an actual investment in our economy that creates wealth on the other end, whereas all of those other things do not.
An investment. Really? How come every time you want to ruin an economic sector, be it education, healthcare, or anything else, that you're surprised people were against it? Not only are your ideas not economically feasible, as in it's impossible to pay for your cuckoo land utopia, they're progressively destroying competition, resulting in slow innovation, low availability, and high costs. I know you don't understand that your ideas will bring misery, and you're abdicating for them because you don't understand how they're going to do that. At least I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, unlike you do with your opponents. As typical Marxists, you guys use the misfortunes of the needy to prolong your agenda of hating the rich. Watch how the show follows. One of them complains about how evil the rich are, and the rest cheerlead away.
And whenever there is giant trillions of dollars of tax cuts for the rich, they're like, oh, well, okay, I guess that's going to stimulate the economy. No, it's not.
Yes, it does. But more importantly, how come every single place, every single country that has tried the socialist regime has ended up in poverty and misery?
My question is, how can we afford not to do Medicare for all?
Exactly.
Because doesn't Medicare for all actually save money?
Exactly. It's a system that is just more beneficial, and that is why almost every developed nation in the world has it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are they getting paid per cheer? But to answer your question, no, it doesn't save money. Beyond, of course, your utopian ideas that live in your head.
In Venezuela, sick people are taking dog medicine. That's how bad it is in Venezuela.
Okay, well, I found that to be hilarious. But first, let me get a reaction from you.
Well, first thing that I think is funny is that they talk about these things, but they don't talk about the fact that people will forego their medicine because they can't afford it here, that people will go through real measures of brutality here in the United States because they can't afford their own medicine either.
Really, Senk? You find that hilarious? Let me tell you the key difference between Venezuela and the US's medical situation. In Venezuela, they basically do have tons of money, but reportedly they're worthless even compared to their weight in toilet paper. And they don't have access, that's very important, access to medicine. That's why they're forced to use dog medicine. You don't seem to get that. Now, in the US, everyone has access to medicine. However, some odd cases or downright lazy ones who don't want to work at all don't have the money to afford it. And what you're saying is that because of the lazy ones and the odd cases out that for some insane reason couldn't make it, we should all go to Venezuela's solution, so at least we'll suffer together, right? Well, I find that to be immoral, and how you find it to be moral is a complete mystery to me. Though you do have something to say about morality, don't you?
So it's like this cherry picking that's designed to reinforce this boogeyman narrative when in truth, we're just talking about having a humane economy and a humane country.
Really? Okay, let's talk about cherry picking. Just make sure to stop saying before.
Yeah, they say, oh, these places that have socialized medicine, like Germany, Norway, Finland.
Oh crap, this had to go before she said cherry picking.
Japan, where they all Canada.
Okay, what are we going to do? Don't worry about it. Half of them didn't notice when we tried to buy back their guns away. They won't notice this as well. Cherry picking.
They all have far better healthcare system than we do. That's measured.
Measured in what? The only examples you've ever come up with are how people feel about their healthcare. How good or bad they think it is. You don't go about average waiting times, you don't go about quality of care, which is the most important, or how much it actually costs.
They live longer, they have a healthier population, and it's at half the cost. And they never ask, how can we in America afford to pay double the cost of other developed nations per capita and get worse results? But there were so many funny things in there, but the one that took the icing was, it is immoral to give people health care. It's immoral to give them health care. And the way, did you see the way that analyst framed it?
Right.
He said that it's taking from people who work and giving it to people who don't
Yes.
work. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Medicare for all is for the whole country.
How can you afford to pay double? You can afford it with Obamacare and similar programs, not stealing away people's hard-earned dollars. After which, when their insurance is not accepted, they're forced to pay double, or usually substantially more than double, or they go in the statistic as not having healthcare. That's how your policies ruin it. That's why those right-leaning show hosts call it immoral. Because it brings more suffering. Stop trying to pat yourself on the back, claiming unearned moral superiority, and actually think about people, will you?
We don't think of that with any other successful socialized system here in the United States. We don't think about that when it comes to Social Security. We don't think about that when it comes to teachers. We don't have this us versus them frame when it comes to these systems that are beneficial to all of us.
Successful. A lot of us don't actually think those systems are successful and are trying to improve them every day. If only you weren't kicking and screaming along the way. But you mentioned teachers, for example. Wouldn't it be glorious if teacher unions didn't exist? Then teachers could be evaluated based on merit instead of based on do they claim membership to a union. You know, that would create more good teachers. It will bring innovation, increasing how much and how effectively students learn and decrease the cost of education. See, it can be done. If only you weren't all wrapped up in your fake morality.
So then the morality is whether you allow the deaths of tens of thousands of people every single year in order to maintain our current system. And that's just absolutely grotesque.
You can afford it because so far no one has offered a system where less people die. Everything that you offer brings misery, death, and suffering. But of course, it's much easier to say, oh, I'm outraged, than to get off your ass and actually help those people. I think that's grotesque. Bringing us to a typical Marxist close of the video by none other than Anna.
the whole thing about morality, to the people on Fox News, morality is all about the wealthy should be able to hoard their wealth and everyone else should suffer. That's their idea of morality.
As noted at the beginning of this video, TYT and other left-leaning shows, as well as the politicians on the left, represented by the lovely Miss Cortez here, are completely, without a doubt, certain that if you don't agree with them, you're an evil half-wit, and as such, you should not have a word in today's world. That's probably why I stopped watching them. I feel like their attacks were extremely hostile and completely ungrounded, so I wanted to say something. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't like it, tell me why in the comments. I'll make sure to reply to any critique or opposing viewpoint.
Yeah, also, here's my question. Like, where are all of these people that don't work that they're talking about? Who are these people that don't work in America? Unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs.
Are you looking for more videos? If so, you can subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell button below to let us know that you want more videos. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.